All I can say walking out of episode 1 of The God of High School is that this was definitely worth the hype, at least for myself. If you want intense action that is not only intense because it has really good battle choreography that is actually complex, it varies from each character, even the nameless characters that are probably going to be knocked out within a split second of getting introduced to them. It's brutal, it's impactful. This is supposed to be a tournament where any and all fight styles and weapons are permitted, seemingly other than murder, but maybe even that could be tossed in at some point in time, I don't know. I doubt it with a name like High School in the title, but still, it doesn't change the fact that these characters are getting impaled like a freight train and being thrown around, broken ribs, broken ankles, broken faces at times. Like, this show is absolutely eye candy. It's intelligent with its battle choreography, but most importantly, it has personality, and it really does shine in that department, I have to say. I heard a lot of different things going into The God of High School. I've heard a lot of people very excited. It's arguably one of, if not the most anticipated show going into this season. Yes, there's a lot of anticipated sequels and things like that, but this had a lot of hype and buzz backing it. But I also heard other people say that it was a little too much action for them, and they didn't think it was all that substance-filled. Based on this first episode, I think it's exactly what I want to see. It definitely is going to be driven by fights. It's clear as day. Luckily, those fights are incredibly well animated. They are insanely well animated. But the thing that is going to make those fights actually fun to follow is I like the 3 central characters we got introduced to in this episode. They all have varying personalities, they all have their arrogance and their intelligence, their strengths, their weakness, but they're honestly fun to listen to. There's a surprising amount of comedy in this first episode that honestly made it very enjoyable to watch. You kick off this episode pretty much in one of the most cliche fashions ever, late to school. How many times have you watched an anime that starts off, the character wakes up late and they're rushing to school? Now I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe some of the more criticism going into this episode was warranted, and then as quickly as I thought that, it was shoved out the window. This man is going so fast on a bicycle that he almost hits grandma and then pretty much ramps off to a near-death height that realistically any mortal who falls on that height would pretty much die. This show is pure adrenaline, and it doesn't shy away from that fact. I realized that this was going to be a show exactly for me and probably a lot of people. Those action junkies are going to have their spectacle, their eye candy, but if you like characters and actually want to because here's the thing. Why do people watch sporting events? Why do people pick their favorite teams, their favorite boxers? Because you're connected with the person. You care about their story. Boxing and stuff like that, when you're going to watch a match, there's these stories, these personal conflicts, the rise of the underdog, things like that. So watching a bunch of characters rise up through this tournament-like arc, of course it's going to be fun. It just feels like a sporting event in a different coat of paint. And it honestly feels like it knows what it's doing and it's confident in that fact. So these 13 episodes should hit it out of the park. I have to say though, I absolutely love the Webtoon and Crunchyroll promotion in one of those shots there. I just got a giant grin on my face looking at that, because I think they should be proud of what they're producing and helping to produce and things like that, because this is a show similar to last season's Tower of God that is taking the community by storm, doing something different while still feeling true to the anime style. And one of the best things that I can point out in terms of it feeling like anime but also doing something different is honestly the presentation. This looks like anime, it feels like anime. It has its silly faces, it has its serious faces, the way the characters move in the action pieces. It looks and it is structured like an anime series. But there is moments throughout this episode that took me back and almost made me feel like I was looking at something coming from North America, but almost like it was coming from North America but being stylized as an anime. So there's certain shots that look very familiar to anime series like Soul Eater. There's the shark teeth moments in series certain like Soul Eater, they have those moments. There's some of the more ridiculous shenanigans that of course you're going to pick up on. You have character personalities that feel very familiar to something like a Luffy from One Piece in terms of needing food before the big fight. But there's also shots that just look so different. They look so like you're clearly breaking away from the trend, and that's what anime needs to see. We love anime, we love how it looks, we love how it feels, but I think we get very used to saying, oh, this is an action series, we know what it's going to look like and feel like, especially based on this studio, this director, things like that. But honestly, this felt like I was seeing a constant variety of ideas being splish-splashed around, and it didn't feel jarring, it didn't feel out of place, it just felt right at home for what the God of High School is going to look like and feel like. And I could see a lot of anime coming out in the future trying to mirror what God of High School is doing on a visual level, because it is goddamn spectacular. Out of the 3 characters we pretty much got introduced to, I would have to say Mira was probably my favorite. I like her personality because she starts off basically like, oh, she's the clueless girl trying to look for the tournament, and we're basically starting off with a bunch of muscleheads saying like, oh, why is everyone getting picked besides us? And I figured they're gonna go the direction of, oh, this girl got picked but not us. But then it became this like flirtatious scene on both ends. She was attracted to muscles, and they were just like, oh my god, someone's actually like impressed with our muscles. Hell yeah, because they were feeling down about themselves. And then she gets a bite to the face. I was like, okay, I knew you're gonna be brutal, and there was clearly some comedy there, but I wasn't expecting our man going like 100 kilometers an hour, smashing that girl in the face with his bike tire, saying my bad and going away, and then her basically smacking him around, to then a tag team combo chasing robbers, because this boy clearly thinks that, oh my god, grandma's not going to be able to have surgery money, and she bought into the sob story, and then gets her face smacked into a sign. What the hell are we watching? I don't know, but it is goddamn entertaining, and I need more, I have to say. But all three had pretty fun personalities. One's a little more serious, very hardworking, thinking about taking more shifts or another part-time job, but then is just a pure tank and just smacking fools around left and right. And then of course we have a very, I don't even know what I would want to claim the personality as of right now. It almost seems arrogant, it almost seems carefree, but then there's this level of seriousness, and the way the episode ends is some of the coolest cliffhangers I've seen in quite some time. You have someone who pants as a fool trying to sexually harass a female, to then getting kicked around, but in the brief second is able to elbow his ankle to break it. Oh my god. This show looks cute and fun at certain times, and you wouldn't think it's going to be all that gritty and dark because, oh, it's a very bright and vibrant series, and then you're seeing bones shatter left and right, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be fun, hot damn. This is what I want to see. There's nothing wrong with having action in a show, even a show driven by action. A majority of the world watch sporting events of some kind in either it's boxing or football, soccer, whatever you want to watch. You root for a team, so there's no problem with watching a show driven by combat and rooting for a character and watching their stories play out, what they're driven by. The episode kicks off with an emotional kind of like intro about a grandpa and his grandson trying to say be the best you can, and it's very dramatic, and yes, we transition to a very much older version of this kid who seems complete opposite of the sad little boy, but that's probably a good thing because he's trying to be the strongest he can be. There's these stories, the interpersonal conflicts, and the friendships that will blossom, and you know, you build friendships. They start off with like a survival of the fittest arc. As you build those friendships, probably friends will have to go up against each other, and like what kind of turmoil will that make? What about the antagonists and the, you know, rivalries, the enemies that you'll make along the way? There's a lot of stories that you can tell just with combat, as long as you make the characters likable. And it's not even just about making characters likable, it's making them interesting is probably the better way to put it, because there's gonna be characters that will make our blood boil. But that's not a bad thing. If everyone was holding hands, the fights would be like, who cares who wins? The best, like, friendship dilemmas, duels, things like that, are those that you can feel like both characters are giving it their all. They believe that they need to win for their dream, because their wish, as it's clearly stated, whoever wins this will get any wish granted. It means everything to them, and they're fine pummeling their friend to near death to get there. Sounds weird to say, but it really does make it very interesting to follow at the end of the day. And honestly, the production levels across this show is fantastic. I've complimented the visuals and just the animation. Honestly, the art style and character designs are really solid as well. They're not like super anime in the sense that you feel like everyone has like Yu-Gi-Oh style hairstyles, but rather they are interesting, they are distinct, the eyes are really fun on a lot of characters, and they do feel anime without going so overboard that it feels like it's distracting in any way, but still memorable, which is really fun. But the music took my breath away. That opening is completely different than what I like in terms of music genres, but I'm never skipping that opening. It is a bop, and the electronic music across the entire episode really added to a very exciting atmosphere that it made you feel this like level of anxiety and excitement pretty much from start to finish once we got past that little intro with the kind of sob story with grandpa and grandson. The one thing that definitely is annoying is any show that is hyped up before it starts up is going to have a majority of people either just naturally excited because a lot of people are excited, or just fall into the category of saying, oh, this is going to be bad because there's no way something deserves this hype. I try to keep myself in the middle, saying, okay, I'm hearing what you're saying about the hype, that sounds like something I'd like, but at the same time, I'm not just going to say it's good because a lot of people say it's good. There's plenty of shows that come out that I just completely skip because I tried, I'm like, that's not for me, cool people like it. So I'm hoping that people go into this episode with an open mind, not just saying, oh, I have to like it because it's popular, or oh, I have to hate it because it's popular. A lot of people fall into those two categories, so all I really hope is people go into this with an open mind and they probably will find something to either enjoy a lot or at least a little for a single episode, because honestly, even if you don't like the episode, there probably was a few fights in here that were probably like, hey, you know, this really isn't something I'm going to continue, but at least the fights were pretty fun at the end of the day. They're going to give me really cool personal conflicts and stories to root for. This is going to be one that I'm going to be hyping up for the entire 13 episodes, probably screaming for a season 2 before we even get to the midway point. But as always, let me know your thoughts and opinions for fans of the source material or anime originals like myself. What did you think of God of High School Episode 1? And let me know your favorite character as of right now. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like to show your support. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.